That's it. That's it. Don't you ever burp in my face like that again, okay?
Don't you ever burp in my face like that again, okay?
Burp in my face one more time, you're gonna get the most brutal concussion time.
Burp in my face one more time, you're gonna get the most brutal concussion time.
You know what? I'm about to summon Fred from Go Animate and get him over here to give you a brutal concussion time.
You know what? I'm about to summon Fred from Go Animate and get him over here to give you a brutal concussion time.
Like the guy from Samster 5677.
Like the guy from Samster 5677.
What's this? What's it? Goofy laughs. Goofy dance.
Goofy laughs. Goofy dance.
Why is it that everything you do is so goofy? What's this? Oh, trumpet? What type of trumpet is that? My God. That trumpet sounds like a fart. Where did he get this trumpet from? Temu? Wish? What's this?
Be connected, and Egypt can send troops into Syria to fight off Turkey. But these two countries are both dedicated to staying neutral, as Palestine has just, annexed a lot of Israeli land, and that would be very difficult to kind of, hold together. Whereas Jordan, they just lost land to Egypt, so why should we help you? But they also don't see much hope in the blue side winning, so why would we join you? In Qatar, it's kind of the same thing, so if they join the side of Iran, they would be rolled over by Saudi Arabia almost immediately. But if they join Saudi Arabia's side, then they would most likely end up losing, as the red team looks like they are favored to win this war. So that's the neutrality stance of the following Middle Eastern countries. Back down in Yemen, and due to a lot of, instability, we have the country falling to Saudi Arabian forces. And this is a big win for Saudi Arabia, as they have one less front to worry about. It is not looking too hot over here in the Red Sea coast. Egyptian troops and the Egyptian Navy start to make landings along the coast, and it is at this point that Saudi Arabia loses their entire coast over to Egypt. This is mostly due to an undefended coast, since most troops that were located down here are in Yemen, but eventually we have the Saudi Arabians pushing back the Egyptians. They only managed to push them back so far though, as Egypt has already established a pretty secure front, and at this point this is at a stalemate, while this is slowly moving in the side of Egypt. While this is slowly moving on in the favor of Egypt. Up north, both Turkish and Saudi Arabian forces managed to capture Baghdad, and this is a significant development for the blue team. By splitting Iraq in half, they have cut off and isolated Lebanon, Syria, and Iraq, and by, doing this, they can easily crush them. They won't have much resources going into them. So while they start to do that, we actually have Iran and Iraq taking over Kuwait and pushing into this sector of Saudi Arabia. Iranian troops push across the Persian Gulf and land in the UAE, and from here they establish a front line over here against the blue team. Back over with Egypt, Egypt manages to relink with its front line, and like I said, it is slowly moving in their favor. At this point, Turkey and Saudi Arabia are both rushing in order to capitulate both Syria, Lebanon, and Iraq, in which they actually managed to do, because like I said, internal issues are a big factor for two of these countries. Well, up north, we also have the blue team managing to wipe out Armenia. Now this is a big setback for the red team, as a lot of these troops were being held together by Armenia, and this land falls back to Turkey. We then have them establishing a front over here in Iran. So while this war may look like it's going in the favor of the blue team, we have to remember that the only countries that have been wiped out so far are weak countries. If either Turkey or Saudi Arabia or Egypt or Iran were to fall, it would drastically shift the favor of the war. Back up in Azerbaijan, Iranian troops push up and take over all of the coast of Azerbaijan, which leads to the capitulation of the country. With this, Iran is granted a larger front line and manages to reestablish a bit of Armenia. So now we have the Caucasus area looking something like this. Over in the UAE, Iranian troops managed to take over the entire country, as there was not a lot of support troops going into this area. With this, we now have Saudi Arabia worrying about three front lines that are advancing towards them, over here in Kuwait, the UAE, and Egypt. We also have Oman, who is a little bit worried about them, losing this war as Iranian troops advance. so they end up leaving the war, or I guess leaving the war for now, as Iran is going to continue to occupy this northern half. But with this stability in Yemen in favor of the blue team is lessened greatly. And we actually have some pockets of Yemenis forces popping up against the Saudi Arabians. So with this, it really isn't looking good for Saudi Arabia anymore. With a smaller front line, Iran continues to push into Saudi Arabia over here in the east, while over here against Egypt, we have Egypt making a spearhead over towards Iran. Turkey manages to stalemate Iran over here in the Caucasus, but when it comes to holding land in Iraq, they start to lose ground. This is mostly because of Saudi Arabia's lack of lack of soon-to-be existence, but also because Turkish troops are losing morale in winning this war. So as Iranian troops enter into Syria, we have them all retreating to their border. With this, we are left with a small slither of Saudi troops in Iraq who are all ordered to retreat, and at this very point, we have all of northern Saudi Arabia falling to the red team. Down in Yemen, these two rebel groups link up with each other, and after a lot of guerrilla warfare, we have the country being re-established. From here, these forces manage to push into Saudi Arabia, although they don't make much progress as they are a struggling country. Back over here in Turkey, we have Turkey making some progress over here in the Caucasus, but they are mainly focusing on holding their ground in Syria and Iraq. Speaking of which, Turkey actually relaunches a campaign into northern Syria, because once again, this country is, at this point in this war, is barely holding on. They already have instability issues. They're in this freaking civil war as we speak, but they've been involved in a lot of wars with Egypt, and at this point their country is on the brink of complete collapse. So Turkish forces take advantage of this and pursue a push into the country. Iranian forces are here, but they don't do much. Eventually Syria is split into two, and it just completely collapses. This leads to the fall of Lebanon, and now Turkey is tasked with holding this front. In Saudi Arabia, we have them completely losing access to the Persian Gulf, as well as the Red Sea. After being completely encircled and slowly being beaten out, we have Saudi Arabia deciding to surrender to the red team. And now all that remains is Turkey, who decides that fighting against these three countries, well, four countries, is not of their interest. So Turkey decides to draw a peace treaty with its surrounding neighbors. So let's go ahead and take a look at these two peace treaties. Alright, so let's take a look at this peace treaty. First of all, up north, Turkey actually gains a lot of land from this war. They gain the coast of Syria and all of Lebanon, and even Azerbaijan is connected to their exclave. Now this was a highly disputed part of the peace treaty between Turkey and Iran, and
Florida, you hear it every 2 years. This election is too important to sit out. Well, it's
are those?
Little Caesar's Crazy Puffs. Everyone's getting them.
Yeah, kiddo. Everyone.
TV has so many great recommendations.
Yeah, serves up the best options from all my apps in one place. It's like it knows what.
Dive into a crunchy wafer filled with chocolate and hazelnuts. Pita Cream, retreat yourself.